I think Brown University in the year 2014 is more diverse than the Brown University in 1979 when I entered. And I thought it was pretty diverse back then. I mean, what attracted me to Brown early on, and I'm 30 plus years removed from the Brown experience, was that I always had a sense that they valued what I brought to the table, and they valued difference. They didn't just tolerate difference. They affirmatively wanted to create a cultural milieu here where people of different backgrounds were coming together to interact, sometimes to disagree, but always to figure out common ground and build that cultural foundation and intellectual foundation for future success. In my experiences at Brown, I enjoyed the transformation that really enabled me, I think, to become a better citizen in the world. I entered Brown full of enthusiasm, excitement, but with hindsight, possessing a very narrow set of life experiences. Brown broadened my horizons, gave me those experiences and the opportunities to get outside of my comfort zone. And when you get outside your comfort zone, you expand your comfort zone. Brown was the first place where I had meaningful interactions with and friendships with people who were different from me in many respects. I had people who became friends here who are gay, people from Ghana, and people from Georgia. People who are Catholic, people who are Jewish, people of all faiths. And that taught me not simply to tolerate diversity, but to embrace the diversity that is our nation's greatest strength. And as I spent time in the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department fighting for religious liberty or freedom on behalf of LGBT Americans, I think often about my experiences at Brown and listening to people who wanted to be judged simply by the content of their character, but found themselves marginalized because of who they worshiped or who they loved or some other irrelevant factor. I had a wonderful mentor, advisor, who was a mentor for thousands of Brown students, and it was truly remarkable that a Catholic boy from Buffalo gets hooked up with an Orthodox Jewish professor who becomes a friend for life, a mentor, and someone who taught me so much about the world. Brown's tradition of religious tolerance, I think, is a big part of what sets it apart from many other institutions, including other Ivy League institutions. And it's fitting for me, as somebody who came from a pretty religiously homogeneous environment, to come to Brown, to be mentored by the likes of Ed Beiser, and develop a worldview that so embraces diversity. And I've had the privilege in jobs that I've held in the federal government to work to ensure that we continue to protect religious liberty. And that really is very much in keeping with the traditions of Brown that date back 250 years. I remember participating in a set of conversations about the institutional climate on campus. And what triggered it was conversations about sitting in the ratty and looking around and seeing, well, it seems like there's a lot of self-segregation that occurs, and I don't use the word segregation simply in the limited term of race. How do you get people to move outside that narrow comfort zone into a zone in which they are truly interacting with people that are remarkably different from them, and that's a work in progress. You look at where we are as a nation, and frankly, we're still way too segregated. And overwhelming percentages of people enter institutions of higher learning having had very little meaningful interaction with people of other races or other ethnicities or other religions. And that's why higher ed is so important. That's why Brown is so important, and the values here. Because if you're going to work at a Fortune 500 company and help that company to maintain and expand its global footprint, you better be culturally competent. You better be a citizen of the world. And if you're going to work in government and try to make a better world, you better be a citizen of the world, because our country is so diverse. And so there's really no occupation that you can pursue in which the values of Brown are not integral to your success and our community and our nation's success. I learned early on, and it was nurtured here at Brown, that a society that loses its sense of moral outrage is doomed to extinction. And I've had the good fortune of being able to work in various contexts in which we've been able, I think, to build community, to empower people, to expand opportunity, whether it was the opportunity to vote, the opportunity to practice your religion free from discrimination, the opportunity to earn, if you're a woman, free from the glass ceiling. That's really the embodiment of Brown and the embodiment of the values that I learned there and that my parents taught me. Brown continues to be an indispensable part of who I am as a person and what I do day in and day out. And by that I simply mean that Brown taught me to not simply tolerate diversity, but embrace the diversity that was our campus and is our country. Brown taught me to think critically. Brown taught me that public service is a noble calling that was consistent with what my parents talked about in terms of making sure the ladder was down for others. And it's a privilege every single day in serving this president and in doing the things I've had the privilege of doing in public service throughout my career. And the foundation was laid here at Brown. I feel so badly when there are people in the world who don't have real interests or passions. The Brown student is intellectually curious, passionate, and their biggest challenge is that they love so many things, and there are so many things on their to-do list and their bucket list. That's a wonderful way to live, because they're constantly out there trying to build a better world, build a better mousetrap, and make change. The Brown Band best illustrated constructive irreverence. I don't know that I can repeat on camera the things that they did when I was an undergrad, other than to say that I think they were banned from a couple universities as a result of their actions. They didn't know how to do right angles in marching, because that was not the essence of the band, but it embodied, for me and for so many at Brown, one of the remarkable memories of constructive irreverence. Brown has a remarkable capacity to bring out the best in people, and I think part of it is because it fosters an intellectual curiosity and experimentation by virtue of having no distribution requirements, so that it encourages people to take risk, get out of their comfort zone, and experiment. And there's no such thing as failure. There's only learning experiences in life, and that was really the essence of Brown. I hope a Brown grad will always remember that this was a remarkable privilege, and to he or she whom much is given, much is expected. And when their obituary is written, that it will be written that this Brown graduate made the world a better place.